On DC Music Rocks, we're shining a spotlight on the great songs and incredible people like Joe and Alisha from Songbyrd here in the DC region's local music scene. So Alisha is a trained architect, designer, and bar restaurant operations manager. She has an interdisciplinary background in construction, finance, and architecture design, and as well as years of experience as a bartender and a manager. So she is the managing member of Songbyrd on the ownership team, and is also the general manager of the venue. So this is Alisha, and I also have Joe, who is a real estate attorney by background, but always has a passion for music and is a power to connect and unify people. So Joe's always been the guy who made mixtapes, camped out for new album releases, and hosted informal listening parties with his friends. And around 2010, he began to write a business plan for a place that might bring these kind of experiences into the commercial world. And Songbyrd, which is like a sports bar for music or a reimagined music store, is what he created. Joe primarily runs business affairs, marketing, and what he likes to call alternative or non-musical events for Songbyrd. So I first ran into these folks at some of the conferences around town for local music, and I've been to the venue, I can't even count on fingers and toes the number of times, and it's such a great place, so it is a treat to have you here. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks for inviting
Cheers.
us.
And now tell us about, we baited him earlier with it, but tell us about the name Songbyrd. Where does that come from?
Well, we originally had some other names for this place, but when we found the space, it was a nightclub, and it wasn't what we were looking for, but it had this really amazing music history. It was called the Showboat for years, from the 50s to the 70s, and the house band was Charlie Bird's band, and he and his manager owned and ran it, and it just kind of spoke to us when we found out the history of it. Charlie Bird and Stan Getz played there almost every night doing jazz samba, and it was just really special.
That's cool. And so it became in honor of Bird.
Yeah.
It was
Little homage to DC music history.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Charlie Bird, not to be mistaken with Charlie Parker, who was nicknamed Bird. Charlie Bird is the famous jazz guitarist, originally from Maryland, spent his life and career in Maryland and DC, recorded jazz samba, one of the greatest selling and greatest jazz albums of all time, based on the fusion of kind of American jazz and Brazilian samba. He did a lot of work, democracy work and State Department work with Brazil, and recorded that album at the All Souls Church just up the street from us in Adams Morgan.
Yeah. So much history there. All right, so that's where Songbyrd comes. I've always wondered. Man, that's awesome. And now what about, now it's a lot of work to start a venue. So how did you guys meet, and how did Songbyrd, the venue, come together, really?
Well, I moved here for grad school in 2009, and I started bartending for brunch just for some extra money and to meet people that didn't want to talk about policy. And I met Joe, and so that's where we met.
Was he a customer, or was he?
He was a customer, yeah.
Oh, and you started talking music?
And we started talking, well, eventually we started talking music, and we started talking about the loss of listening to music. Not listening to your radio or on an MP3, but like really listening to an album, start to finish, with your friends and community.
I don't think hardly anybody does that anymore, actually. They're not even putting albums out half the time. It's just singles.
Yeah,
so
but I think more and more people are, and I see it, and we see it with some of the stuff we're doing. Yeah, that's definitely one of our focuses, to bring back that experience.
I've seen, is that kind of go into the listening parties? I've seen something, you guys do listening parties, right?
We do several different types of listening parties, actually.
Tell me more.
So, yeah, again, the basic idea being, let's get together, you go to see a movie, but why don't you go listen to that album and enjoy it with people, maybe learn something, maybe, focus on it in a different kind of way, or just make a day out of it, make an experience, make an afternoon out of it. So, we host a monthly event through Classic Album Sundays, which is kind of a worldwide listening party platform. And in fact, going to those events in other cities kind of helped inspire me as well.
That's cool.
But that is very focused. You're going to have presenters talking about the album. We bring in special audiophile grade turntables and equipment for that event. And we have that in our venue, so, it's kind of more quiet and focused. And then we do other stuff like you're referring to on Fridays. A lot of times we'll partner with labels based on their new music that's coming out, and just throw kind of a fun, something different from the regular Friday happy hour where you're gonna hear the new music with your friends.
Yeah. Oh wow. So many cool things happening. There's always it's a lot of fun to follow your social media too, because there's always all kinds of it's like, oh, that's different. Oh, okay. And I mean, you definitely win the award for it, making it interesting and exciting. The music world is so interesting and exciting, and I think you guys do a great job for that. So
thanks, man.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's a whole world for sure.
And what is your connections to DC? You came for grad school, Alisha, and Joe. Have you always been here, or when did you get here?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that artist from Durwood earlier. I'm from Rockville, Maryland.
Oh,
so I grew up in the area. I've kind of always been in the area. So
it's like actually like a quote local because you
I would
been here your whole life.
For sure, definitely. You know,
wow.
Red Line inside the Beltway, all that.
There it is. And that breed is almost. Although I feel like it's getting more common now, but I feel like it used to be really rare to meet somebody who was actually from the area and here. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I mean we're probably still the minority, but it's funny because I see a lot of people from DC and around DC doing really cool things in DC. I think because we already kind of knew the place.
True.
So, we had a little bit of a leg up on newcomers who still had to kind of map it out.
Yeah.
So,
what about you guys on the personal side, outside of Songbyrd? What do you have hobbies? What else is there to life for you guys?
I mean, I wish I said I had a lot of hobbies.
I know that's a lot to ask because you probably put a lot into Songbyrd.
I mean, we're just going on our 2-year anniversary for the venue. Before the venue, I painted. I love building furniture and just kind of a designer, like anything that has to do with art.
So a lot of work with your hands.
A lot of I love.
And now you've totally switched gears, and do you do any more of that sometimes, or?
Well, we're always redesigning the space just a little bit for better things.
So you have a living canvas now in Songbyrd.
We have a living canvas in Songbyrd. And then I guess we got a puppy, so that's like kind of living and breathing for this little puppy called Fife Dog.
And what kind of puppy is he?
She is Fife's a girl.
Okay.
She is a border collie miniature schnauzer. She's a rescue puppy.
Got it. Wow, what fun. And what about you, Joe?
I do have a whole lot of things that I do. I mean, we share our puppy, so Fife keeps us busy for sure. But yeah, man, I'm into music, of course. Go to shows. Spend a lot of time keeping up with new music. But I'm into all types of things. I play a lot of different sports. Still play hardball. Still play baseball, hardball at age 39 in some local leagues.
I'm impressed.
So I come home with some bruises every once in a while. But yeah, man, just I'm a believer in trying to stay young in the mind.
Got it. And now one of my favorite questions that I always love to ask is if you could offer one piece of advice, what would it be?
Gosh, for the music scene specifically,
I'll leave that up to you. Actually, however you want to answer.
Well, I'll start that off by saying, be careful with giving advice. First of all.
All right, we got that out of the way. Now give some. Go ahead. Okay.
Just follow your passion, follow your dreams. Which in DC music, if you're an artist, you're already doing that. But keep doing it, and just stick to it. But failure to plan is planning to fail. So use that dream as your fuel to get into the details as well. So there's some advice.
Excellent.
My advice would be similar, but make choices and own them.
Own them. All right. Follow them through. You did it. You made the choice. Now follow it through. Do it. I really like that too. That's a really good one. And for those folks who want to know, want to follow what you're doing and find out more about Songbyrd, tell them again where's the best place to go?
The best place to go is I would say our website, www.songbyrddc.com. Bird with a Y, because remember Charlie Bird spelled it with a Y.
We know that now.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay.
At Songbyrd DC on socials. So like you said, we're out there on socials. We try to keep engaged and keep talking about ourselves and keeping people informed.
Yeah, our website's really comprehensive. All of our records are on there. If you want to know what we have in stock, you can click on a little link and it'll show you everything up to 24 hours in advance.
Wow.
And our menus, our listings, any kind of like special event that we have going on, not just local music and stuff, but
really thorough.